I'm Rozanna, and I'm here to teach you about playing the violin and making it easy for you to play as well. I'm going to create an assortment of lessons for you, all of which you can find at rozannasviolins.com. So, with that said, let's get started. To begin with, I'd like to discuss what it takes to actually learn how to play. It takes curiosity, and it also takes learning how to learn. What do I mean by learning how to learn? Well, most teachers will give you a set of instructions and expect you to copy. The problem with that is sometimes the student ends up continually feeling awkward, somehow disconnected to the actual experience. There are many examples of great players who one might call a natural. Heifetz, Nigel Kennedy, numerous players that we would look at and think it looks as natural as drinking water. And one might ask, why is that so? And can that be taught? Well, to begin with, I think the reason it's so is that at a very young age, those people were able to make a clear and a very clear mind-body connection to the process of playing the violin. What do I mean by mind-body connection? I mean that just as we're playing, we can learn to connect to the actual experience. We can learn to differentiate from when our shoulders feel comfortable. We can learn to notice when we're holding our breath, when we're nervous about a passage. And most importantly, we can learn to be our own best teacher in terms of becoming comfortable with the violin. So let's start with something as simple as holding the bow. Actually, when we think about holding the bow, what we're really talking about is balancing the bow. Because the opposite of balancing the bow is grabbing the bow, for example. If I went like that, of course you wouldn't see anything like that. Or anytime you're instructed to do something very specific with your hand that goes different from what you would normally be doing if you were just holding the hand, not even thinking about playing the violin. So what this means is that our aim is to play the instrument with as natural approach as possible without having to distort the hand, without having to stretch the fingers, without having to grab on for dear life. So we start with bringing our arm up, slightly bent. You can try that yourselves. So just notice, imagine you're shaking water off, right? See how floppy and lazy those fingers are? Real easy, right? Just real natural. Or you might even try, if you have fruit in front of you, grabbing a piece of fruit. And you'll notice, what do you do when you grab something, right? The fingers respond, but basically you have this very simple, basic, loose feeling in the hand. Now let's try it with the bow. With the left hand, you take bow in one hand, you bring the hand around, just shaking it. So what happens if you just do that and then let the pinky just rest easily on the top of the bow, and then you have the thumb. For most beginners, I suggest just bringing the thumb directly under the bow like this in a very, very simple way so that you just get a basic feel of the balance in your hand. Just let that bow just balance in your hand. Notice as you turn it over, right? Call this the windshield wiper, right? You can see why. Notice how as I'm balancing the bow, the weight shifts from the pinky to the index finger, yeah? That is the basis for technique. That's lesson 1. Good to see you. Check out Rozanna's Violins, where you'll get great info on playing the violin and other cool things. Thank you so much.